This video compilation and then we'll talk about it.
But there's a lot of Christians who are now explicitly rejecting the teachings of Jesus because they're too liberal and weak.
Multiple pastors tell me essentially the same story about quoting the Sermon on the Mount parenthetically in their preaching. Turn the other cheek. To have someone come up after and say, where did you get those liberal talking points?
I totally believe this. I had one guy tell me that he was just reading the Sermon on the Mount in a church. Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom. Blessed are the hungry, for you will be filled. Blessed are those who weep, for you will laugh. And people started walking out. I think we've all seen way more examples of people twisting Jesus into some sort of Republican, but now they're just like, no, yeah, Jesus is too progressive for me.
And what was alarming to me is that in most of these scenarios, when the pastor would say, I'm literally quoting Jesus Christ, the response would not be, I apologize. The response would be, yes, but that doesn't work anymore. That's weak.
The founding fathers quoted the Bible constantly and were driven by their faith.
Our country was founded on religious freedom and religious pluralism. Listen to the first 16 words of the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. The founders can be Christians and still believe the entire nation should have the freedom to any or no religion.
Right now, if you vote Democrat, I don't even want you around this church. You can get out. You can get out, you demon. You can get out, you baby butchering election thief. You cannot be a Christian and vote Democrat in this nation. I don't care how mad that makes you. You get pissed off as you want to. You cannot be a Christian and vote Democrat in this nation. They are God-denying demons that butcher babies and hate this nation. Bunch of devils. I'm sick of it. They want to talk about the insurrection. Let me tell you something. You ain't seen an insurrection yet.
I want to start off by saying this is not a political event. And I say that with all sincerity because what we're doing here tonight is kingdom business. This is God's business. Those who serve in office are called God's ministers for good. And it says that he is not a minister. He is a minister to execute wrath on those who practice evil. And so we have a line of defense that we elect and put in office to execute wrath. They call him God's avenger. All you who are elected people, I want you to know you are God's avenger to execute wrath against evil.
And he has never hidden his belief that there should be no separation of church and state. In this article, you can read about it. Pence has said the radical left believes that the freedom of religion is the freedom from religion. But it's nothing the American founders ever thought of or generations of Americans fought to defend. This is a dangerous distortion that has no foundation in our American history. But it does serve the Christian nationalist agenda, which believes that our government should be solely influenced by extremist Christian beliefs and values.
The idea that there's separation of church and state, the way that it's been manipulated by leaders in our government, is absurd. It's absurd, it is a fraud, and it is tyranny.
It absolutely
is. And it's time that every person, every pastor who loves liberty, who loves religious freedom, stands up and says, no, we aren't doing it anymore. We're not playing this game of separation of church and state anymore. If we value liberty, we have to fight. And we have to stand against this absurdity called separation of church and state. We may not like it. It may go contrary to our flesh and nature, but we have to do it. It's what God says to do. Jesus sent his disciples into the world to preach the gospel of the kingdom, his kingdom. And we're called to obey him in whatever we do. So I can't imagine that there's a government on earth that's contrary to the kingdom of God. Well, if it is, it's not a government. So
No, it's not. It's not a government.
Many of us who grew up in the evangelical church can tell you that this was preached every Sunday. We can also tell you that it was not necessary for a preacher to get political, as Greg Locke does, to make their case about who you should vote for. This week, I started going live 3 days a week, beginning at noon Eastern Standard Time, and I'm going to continue to do that. And I try to bring compelling points to educate you and prepare you and keep you informed. And very soon, I will be announcing a date so we could take a deep dive into Christian nationalism and how that intersects with Christian Zionism. You need to understand one to understand the other. So join me for my lives and join me for that event. Stay awake.